Hello you guys, and welcome to my first video of 2019. Happy New Year. I am so excited for today's video because I'm going to be starting my 19 and 2019 project pan. Project panning was probably like one of my most favorite things I did on my YouTube channel around makeup last year. So I'm so excited to be starting this year's project because if you guys haven't caught last year's project, spoiler alert, I did not do very well. I only fully completed 4 products out of 18, so not my best, but I've learned a lot about my makeup consumption and I'm really excited about the items that I selected for this year's project pan. I definitely put more thought into the items that I was selecting this year, so I'm hoping that I'll be more successful this year. If you guys are interested in watching last year's project, any of my updates or my finale, I will leave everything in the description box down below for you guys. If you guys like project panning, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe before we move on. But without further ado, let's just jump into my 19 picks for my project pan 2019. Woo! You guys, like I said, I put a lot more thought into the items that I was picking this year for my project. If you guys didn't catch my Get Ready With Me where I talked about things that I learned in my project, my first year of project panning, I'll leave that link for you guys down below. But I learned a lot about just like my makeup consumption, what products I use up quickly, what products I don't know if I'll ever be able to use up a full, like for example blush. I don't know if I'll ever be able to use up a full blush, but I'm gonna push myself. I'm gonna challenge myself this year. But I feel like I made smarter decisions about the products that I'm including while also including products that I know will challenge me, but I'm going into it with like a better headspace. I have a little bit of an advantage this year now that I've done 1 full year of project panning. So anyway, I picked 2 primers to include in this year's project pan. I really like both of these, but I just feel like I have, enough primers in my collection right now. This year I'd really like to like curate my collection and kind of like whittle it down to the products that I really love and not have this huge collection of products that like, some of them like I could really take or leave. So first up I have my Becca Backlight Priming Filter, and as you can see, I have marked this already. I have probably 3/4 left of this. I do really enjoy this primer. This is probably my favorite Becca primer. I also have this is the First Light. I also have the Backlight Priming Filter. I prefer this one just a little bit more to the Backlight, but I really like this gives just a little bit of luminosity. So if you're looking to just add like a little bit more of a glow to a foundation, this is a really great primer for that. Or if you're not wearing any sort of foundation or makeup, you can just add this you can just put this on, just add like a little bit of a glow to your skin. And yeah, you can glow and go. And then I also have my Too Faced Hangover RX Primer. I picked this up during the 21 Days of Beauty Ulta sale for half off. Because I know back in the day everyone used to rave about this, and for me personally I typically tend to like more moisturizing primers, so I wanted to pick this up to give it a try. Personally, I feel like I like the First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothing Primer just a little bit better than this, but I still like this one enough to include it in a project pan. I think I should have no problem getting through both of these, but I know if I didn't include this one in a project pan, I might just like get like, forgotten about, and I would go purchase like, for example, the First Aid Beauty Primer again before using this up. So I really just want to focus on using up products this year in my collection too before I bring a bunch more in. So that's a long-winded explanation for why I'm including this primer. I have 2 foundations that I am including. One is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation, and I actually included this foundation in last year's project pan in a different shade. Now this shade is a little bit too deep for me. This is in the shade Nude, but I can get away with this if I mix it with a lighter foundation, or I can get away with it during like my tannest point in the summer. I really enjoy this foundation formula and I really want to purchase it in my shade again, but I want to use this one up before I do that, so that is why I'm including this. And as you can tell, I am about just a little less than halfway through this one, so I feel like this one won't be a problem. Usually I don't have problems with liquid products. Then I also have my Dior Forever Skin Foundation, or Forever Foundation, and I'm again just a little bit more than halfway, a little bit less than halfway done with this. This is one of my favorite foundations, but I've had this in my collection now close to a year, or a little over a year, so technically this is past expiration. Now for me personally, until I notice a formula change in its like actual consistency, or it starts to smell funky, then I personally don't have a problem using expired makeup. I know that's gonna be different from person to person, but I do want to use this. This is one of those items that like I it's my favorite, so I like have not used it. I've only used it on special occasions because I know if I finish this foundation, it's gonna be like $54 or whatever it is to repurchase, which is just stupid. Like, I need to get use out of the products in my makeup collection that I love, so I thought this would be a good one to include, especially since now I've had it in my collection over a year. I want to get this used up before it goes bad. Next up, I'm including one powder product in my, or one powder, not powder product, a pressed powder in my project. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. I will take pictures, you guys, so that I can include progress along the way, but this has gotten just a little bit of use out of me, or from me, but I do really like the finish that this gives to the skin. It gives a very airbrushed sort of look to the skin, and I feel like because this one was more expensive, it's another one of those products that I just find myself not reaching for as much because I don't want to use it up as quickly. But I'm gonna really try not to do that this year, so I think I should have no problem getting through this one, but we shall see. I actually have 3 concealers that I am including this year, which is a bit of a stretch for me because I've learned that I don't go through concealer that quickly, but one of them is halfway gone. This is the First Aid Beauty Hello Fab Bendy Avocado Concealer. As you can tell, I'm about halfway done with this. I really enjoy this concealer, so I don't think I'll have an issue finishing this. And then another one of my favorite concealers is the Naked Skin Weightless Concealer. I'm about 1/4 through this. I have about 3/4 left to go. This used to be one of my favorites and still kind of was a favorite of mine throughout last year, but towards the end of 2018, I found a bunch of concealers that I was liking more than this. So I just want to use this up before I really start to bring in even more concealers and repurchase the concealers that I like over this. This is a really expensive concealer, so I'm kind of glad that I found less expensive concealers that I've liked better, but that is why I'm including this one. And then this one is a roll-in from my 18 and 2018 project. It's the NARS, what is this? The NARS, I think it's the Soft Matte Complete Concealer. This is what mine looks like. I really didn't start to use this concealer until towards the end of 2018, but I like to use this actually to set, or to like on my eyes as a base. That's kind of how I found good use out of this. And then if I have like a really bad breakout, I'll also use this to spot conceal. It's a really nice concealer. I just don't find myself reaching for it that much. So I'm hoping that I can get through this. If I use this consistently, I should have no issue getting through it, but it's just a matter of like reminding myself to use the product. So I chose one bronzer because I learned through last year's project that bronzers take a long time to get through, and I'm choosing the Becca Sun Lit Bronzer. I know a lot of people choose to pan this in their project pans. I still have quite a bit of product left in mine. As you can tell, you can still see the waves and stuff. I really do enjoy this bronzer, but I just was focused on other bronzers last year. I don't think I'll have much of an issue getting through this. What's nice about this bronzer, it's a little bit more light toned, so I can go in a little bit heavier handed with this one without it being way too pigmented. So I don't think I'll have an issue getting through this one, but I'm really interested to see or to track my progress on the Sunlit Bronzer. I think this is going to be a really interesting one to track. Last year for my bronzer, I chose the Becca, or the Hoola Benefit bronzer, but I had it in a mini, so I'm really excited to track my progress of a full-size bronzer. Okay, last year for blush, for some reason last year when I was choosing my products for project panning, I thought like I was gonna blast through a bunch of blushes, and I included a blush palette and 2 separate blushes, which is just a joke because I've quickly learned that I do not go through blush fast at all, and I get bored with my blushes very, very easily, I found, so I like to rotate my blushes a lot. So I have selected 2 blushes this year to try and get through, which is a bit of a stretch. If I hit pan on either of these blushes, I will be happy. I don't by any means see myself actually getting through like to where it's like the full pan and no product left, but these are 2 of my favorite blushes, and they're pretty neutral, so I can get away with wearing them kind of year round. The first is the Flower Beauty Flower Pots blush in Sweet Pea. I love the Flower Beauty blush formula, and while this looks like really purpley mauve toned, I feel like my exposure is too high right now on my camera. But anyway, this looks really purple and really like deep, like kind of like a medium deep mauve tone in the pan. it doesn't come across that way necessarily actually on the cheeks. So I feel like I can get away with this pretty much year round. I was debating whether or not to go with this one or Warm Hibiscus, but Warm Hibiscus I typically only tend to wear in the summertime because it has a bit of a sheen to it. But that's probably the blush that got the most love out of my collection last summer, or last year in general. And then the other one I chose was the Essence Satin Touch Blush in Satin Coral. And this does have kind of like a satin sort of finish. It isn't totally matte, but it isn't like super shimmery either. Oh my gosh, I need to figure out my lighting. Now that I don't have my mirrors back here, I have my lights. I gotta figure my lighting out. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see about these blushes. Like I said, I'll just be happy if I hit pan on a blush ever in my life. So I'm really interested and excited to track my progress on these two blushes. Okay, turn my exposure down even just like a little bit more, so I'm hoping the lighting is a little bit better. We'll see. Probably not. So I have two highlights that I'm going to be trying to get through this year. I also thought highlights were going to be an easy one to get through last year, but I have quickly learned I'll be lucky to hit pan on a highlight in my life. But I actually feel really confident in my two selections for this. So the first one is the Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drops in Sunlit, and I'm over halfway through with these. Now this is a formula that I've gone back and forth on like loving and not hating, but just like not using. I was obsessed with these, not this past summer, but the summer before. And then I recently like found a new way that I like to use these. I like to like highlight my cheekbones before I go in with foundation and then put my foundation over it, so it just like is a highlight that like peeks through your foundation. I've really been enjoying those this way. Now I've had these in my collection for a good year and a half now. The shelf life on these is 12 months. So I feel like this is a formula that's going to dry out and go bad on me pretty quickly. So that is why I'm including this in my project pan. I hope that I'm able to complete this and complete it before it goes bad, but we'll see about this one. This is another one too, like it can be really pretty to like mix with your foundation. Oh my gosh, it's like such a blinding highlight. You can mix this with your foundation, or you can use it as like a body illuminator too in the summertime. But again, this is just one that I go like hot and cold on my use with it. And then one of my favorite highlights in my collection is my Fenty Beauty Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal highlight. Here's what mine looks like. I've actually gotten some pretty good use. Like the FB on the like more subtle side is getting pretty worn down. My goal is to just hit pan on either side of this. If I hit pan on both sides, that'd be great. In no way do I think I'll use up the entire product of this highlight, but this is the highlight I feel like that probably gets the most consistent use in my collection, so I thought this would be the most fun to track my progress with. I'm really hoping and I'm really hopeful that I will hit pan on at least the more subtle side of this. I get away with the subtle side at work pretty often. That's what I choose for my highlight when I'm wearing highlight to work. But yeah, that is the Fenty Beauty Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal highlight. All right, you guys, I have two eyeliners, pencil eyeliners to include this year, and I didn't include eyeliner last year, so this is gonna be really interesting for me. First up, I have my Essence Extreme Lasting Eye Pencil, and this is in the shade 2, but First Espresso, which is just a really dark, deep brown. And I have measured this out on this piece of paper. As you can see, I don't even know if you can see the line. Oh my gosh, my lighting. There we go. I have measured it out on this piece of paper, and I really like this formula. It actually lasts my waterline a decent amount of time. So I usually use this when I'm going to work. I either use this or my ColourPop gel liner, which I love, but I love a deep brown eyeliner in my waterline. So I know I'll get a lot of use out of this, and I'm excited to track my progress for this over time. This is one that you sharpen, so slowly but surely it'll whittle down. And then one that I don't know how well I'll do, but I just kind of thought I'd throw this in here as more of like one of my challenging products that'll be fun to kind of track my progress. This is a Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On pencil. It's a mini size or a deluxe sample size, and this is in the shade Starfire, which is this really pretty copper tone. I thought this would be a good one to include because I felt like the shade was pretty versatile. It can be worn with a lot of warm tone looks, and I thought that I could get some pretty good use out of it, so I'm excited to track my progress for this one as well. And then finally, I have 4 lip products that I'm including, which I know I really struggled with the lip products in my last project, but I was very, very conscious about the decisions that I made for my choices in this project. So I've been getting more and more into gloss, and gloss is something that like I actually wear sometimes at work. So I chose my Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb, which I am about halfway through, a little bit less than halfway through, but I love this gloss formula. I wear it all the time. If I am bringing a gloss with, it's always the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb. I really want to pick up her new like pink shade Fussy, but I am very hopeful that I will finish this in a year's span. I really should have no issue unless I like lose it or just completely stop using it. And then the second product, or the second gloss that I'm choosing, is Marc Jacobs Sugar Sugar. This is in a little deluxe size. I couldn't really track my progress for this. I'm gonna toss them on my lips right now because I feel like it'll match this nude lip I got going on. I can't really tell, even held up to a light, I can't really tell where I'm at with this. I've used this maybe 10 or less times, so I feel like there's still a good amount of progress in it, or product in it, but I really enjoy this formula. I really enjoy this shade, and I also have a full size of the Sugar Sugar, so I figured may as well like at least use one and get it out of my collection, which is why I chose the deluxe size deluxe size product, because I also knew I was having, or I had 3 other lip products going in my project. So I had those 2 glosses, and then I chose my favorite lipstick probably of all time, which is Tarte's Rainforest of the Sea formula in the shade Rum Punch, and I freaking love this lipstick shade. It's just a really beautiful like pinky nude that I feel like I can get away with wearing all the time. And typically when I'm reaching for a lipstick, I'm honestly reaching for this lipstick. This is something that I can wear and match with just about any sort of makeup look. That's where I struggled last year, is I chose a lipstick color that I just really couldn't match with much. It was like a cool tone pink, so I'm really excited to track my progress on this. Sorry, this is how much lipstick I have left. So I still have a good amount of lipstick left, and I'm not the type of girl who wears lipstick at work. So pretty much the only time I'm wearing lipstick is when I'm filming or when I'm like doing an event or like going to an event with friends or family. So I don't know if I'll be able to get through it, but I'm really interested to see how much I use of this in a year. And then the last lip product and the 19th item in my project pan is a Dose of Colors liquid lipstick. Dose of Colors has my favorite liquid lipstick formula. This is in the shade Lazy Daisy, and I've only, like, this is fairly new, pretty new. I've only worn it 2 times on my lips, so it's pretty much all the way at the top. But again, this is just like a really nice neutral nude sort of shade. I wanted to include a liquid lipstick in my project pan because I really wanted to track my progress on liquid lipsticks, but I wanted to choose again a color that I knew I could pretty much match with any sort of look, and that I could get some easy use out of. Like, it wasn't like a bright red or anything. So I'm really excited to track my progress for this. Again, I think this will definitely be one of my more challenging products, and I don't necessarily see myself using the entire thing. If I did, I would be shell-shocked and so proud of myself, so impressed. But yeah, after that, you guys, that concludes the 19 picks that I have for my 2019 project pan. If you guys are doing this project pan, either leave me a comment letting me know some of the products that you are including in your project pan, leave me a link to your videos, to your Instagram account, so I can track your guys' so I can track your guys' progress as well. I love the project pan community. I just have had so much fun with project panning. I'm super passionate about project pans, so leave me some love in the comment box below. Again, if you guys haven't already subscribed to my channel, don't forget to do so before you go, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.